Welcome back to Sunny Virgo, or welcome if you're new here. So today we have a very special video because we're talking about Leo-Virgo Cusp, and I'm one. So if you're born between the 19th and the 25th of August, you are a Leo-Virgo Cusp as well, and we're going to talk about you today. We're going to talk about your traits, your struggles, and mainly how you can deal with those struggles, how you can balance your energies and make your life a little bit more livable, because it can be quite intense to be a cusp. So we're going to talk about all that. If you are not subscribed just yet, we do talk a lot about astrology, especially cusps. We do have tarot readings, so if you're interested in all of that, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the content that I do, if you like this type of video, don't forget to smash like button for me and to share in any way you can. I would really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow me also on Instagram, and don't forget to check out the first video that I did about cusps overall. I do share some more tips and tricks for dealing with cusps, for being a cusp, so you may want to check it out and get some more information. But with that being said, I think that's all I need to say. Let's get into the video. So let's start with your traits. You are not called the Cusp of Exposure just because it's a pretty name. You are ruled by the Sun and Mercury, and the Sun, it's like, well, it's the sun, right? It brings light to anything that it sees. It's all about light and passion and just happiness, and that's who you are. I feel like we bring a lot of happiness and light to people's lives. And not only that, but you're a great leader and a great communicator. Sometimes I feel like we don't feel that way, especially because of the Virgo side. If it's not balanced, it can be really shy. So that's something to work on. But if your energies are balanced, you can be a great communicator, a great leader that speaks very clearly. You know, I feel like we could be excellent teachers because the way we talk about things, the way we explain things, it's very like straightforward and people just get it. You also pay a lot of attention to details. So Virgo, right? And you can be a bit of a perfectionist, but you are a great problem solver and really smart. That's why you're such a great leader, and really, people really do look up to you because they just want to know how things work, and you're always so like ready with solutions for the problems, and you always know what to do, and people admire you so much, and they do have a lot of respect. As a boss, I feel like you're great. I feel like your employees really love being around you because, you know, with the Leo, you do have a little bit of a childlike mentality. So I feel like you know when it's time to play and when it's time to work hard. And people really love that playtime. And not only that, but I feel like you really care about your employees and the people you work with. So that just makes you a great boss. However, if the energies are not balanced, you can become a little bit detached, a little bit independent, and maybe with a little bit of secrecy, trying to do things yourself, trying to get everything like, you know, let me do this, don't get in the way, you know, because of that, all that perfectionism of Virgo. But other than that, you're really stable and grounded and determined. I feel like when it comes to your goals, you have big ideas, you have big dreams, and then you know how to look at the bigger picture of that, take it, like slice it in steps and organize things for you to be able to pursue those things and for you to be able to achieve your goals and to achieve your dreams. And that is really good for your Virgo side in terms of organization, even within yourself. And it brings a little bit of peace in knowing that, okay, well, I have everything under control. You know, I have this big dream, but I know how I'm going to get there. So the more you don't get to extremes, well, we're going to talk about that. But the more you organize in terms of like big things, you know, they may get a bit overwhelming, but the more you kind of slice them into steps, the easiest it's going to be for you to actually achieve them. And because you're such a good leader, and even in your own life, and because you have such determination, you're going to achieve them. So let's go a little bit more into relationships, and here we're talking about any type of relationship, but I feel like overall, people see you as this, like, you know, you have the Virgo with the Virgin, right? People see you as very innocent. You also have the Leo, very like childlike stuff. So they see you as this very innocent kid. And I did say, see you. That doesn't mean that it's the truth. And if you're a Leo Virgo, you know what I'm talking about, you know? I feel like people have this idea of us that we're very peaceful and tranquil, and we're like in every area of our lives, we're like super calm and controlled. Yeah, people really shouldn't judge a book by its cover because that's not true at all. I do also feel like when it comes to relationships, because of the Virgo side, and I mean, Leo also has this huge heart, we tend to give a lot. So that is something to control a little bit too, and to keep in mind is that the overgiving needs to be a bit controlled. But I do feel like we're very picky, you know, especially because of the things we went through as children and everything. I feel like we learned that we are overgiving, but maybe we should consider who we overgive to. And so I feel like we're picky and we try to figure out, okay, this is the right person for me, this is not so much the right person for me, so maybe you should just go. So I feel like we have a little bit of hard time opening up completely. I mean, high standards are there, and people have to pass some type of test to see if they are really there to be in your life. And I feel like people sometimes can give up too soon, and I feel like we just need time, right? And once people pass those tests, I mean, we're the most loyal, trustworthy people that they can have, and we're always there to support them. Again, the overgiving is something to take in consideration, to try and control it and give a little bit to yourself as well. But overall, I feel like when it comes to relationships, it's just like we need a little bit of time, but once we get past that time, we're yours. Now, we are approachable because, you know, the Leo, it's really outgoing and really there, and sometimes can be a bit too much, but you do have the Virgo side that kind of smooths it over, so you are a little bit not so much intimidating, you know. But one thing that I took so long to kind of figure out how to deal with it internally was that you have a Leo, which is like, yo, let's go party. What are you up to? What are you doing with your life? How is all that? Blah, 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 you know, really out there. It's crazy. And then you have the Virgo that it's like, please don't look at me. Let me be in my zone. And controlling those two things, finding the balance within them, it's really opposing energies. And if you're a Leo Virgo, you get me. That is something that I feel like you learn how to manage, and I'm going to give you some tips that hopefully will help you to balance those both energies. But I feel like this is the biggest struggle we find, is that sometimes we're just ready to party and other times we're like, yeah, I don't think so. So let's get into the actual struggles. And I mean, we already talked about that a little bit just now, but you have some more. We are really hard on ourselves. That is a fact. That is the truth. And I feel like one of the things that you need to have in consideration is that it's okay to go with the moods, you know? If you flipped because someone ate the last Pringle, that's understandable, okay? Pringles are for life. And I feel like you need to have a little bit more compassion with yourself, and you need to respect yourself a bit more, you know? Take more time for yourself to listen to your body, listen to your feelings and everything, and respect them and act according to them. And forgive yourself for anything that didn't go that well. Forgive yourself for making mistakes. Forgive yourself for failing on that test. It happens, okay? I feel like that Virgo side can be really, really hard. And I mean, Leos are seen as like, you know, the sun, really confident, really out there. But they're also one of the most insecure signs. That compared with the perfectionism of Virgo, it's like the key for hating yourself. I feel like self-care and loving yourself is the biggest thing. Be nice, be gentle. Another thing is, like we said before, we are excellent communicators, but if the energies are not balanced, self-expression is really tough. You either show up as a know-it-all, and you can be a little bit like, people see you as being a bit rude and loud and bossy, or you're in this place of, you know what, my opinion doesn't even matter, I'm not gonna say anything. You either like, you put it all out there, maybe not the nicest way, or you tend to hold back. And I feel like for most people, maybe it's more the holding back and not communicating very well. But when it comes to that, is take a couple of deep breaths. When you're feeling like, you know, this is not working out, I'm not being able to express myself, take a couple of deep breaths and try to figure out where that Virgo lies in. You know, be expressive with your feelings, be vulnerable, allow yourself to be vulnerable. Because if those people are in your life, it's because they've passed those tests, right? You were picky, but they passed the tests to be in your life. So I feel like you need to push yourself sometimes to be vulnerable and to just open up in a kind way. You know, you don't have to be loud about it. Really try to go into that Virgo side of the humbleness and the sweetness, and just let the feelings out, let the words out. I even feel like you may be surprised on how much people support you and respect you for that, and how much deeper your relationships will grow and will go into because of that. People really want to be there for you, and if you don't allow them, they will feel like they are not giving you enough, and that's where you feel like you were overgiving. So allow people to give you as well, because sometimes it's not a matter of people not giving you anything. It's just a matter of you not accepting what they are giving you. Another thing that we kind of already talked about was how tough of a critic you are on yourself. Also a little bit on other people, but I feel like the most is on yourself. And you also have really high expectations, and you set really tough goals. And it's not that you were not able to accomplish them, but I feel like most of the times it's so much easier if you let someone in, if you let someone help you, if you let someone give you some sort of advice. And we have this idea that for things to work out, for things to actually be good, to end up well, it has to be us. We have to do it. So try to delegate some stuff. It doesn't have to be like big stuff. Try to figure out, okay, this step is actually pretty easy to do, so let me try and, pass them on to that person and see what happens. You can even start really small with cooking, trying to cook with other people. And also keep in mind that no one is perfect. They are not perfect, you are not perfect, and I feel like that's something that you may need to learn how to manage. It's accepting mistakes, making fun of mistakes. Try to bring a little humor, try to bring a little bit of lightness into the situation, and don't be so hard on others, and don't be so hard on yourself. Now let's get into this thing that I like to call in your neighbor, which is, when we're talking about cusps, it's important that we look at the both energies, If an energy is being a bit too loud and out of control, it's important that you look at the other energy and you're like, hey dude, bring a little bit of help. Come on, let's try and help the other energy. So in this case, if a Leo is being a bit loud, try to bring the Virgo to cool down. If the Virgo is being a bit loud, try to bring the Leo to cool down. How do we do this? If the Leo is being a bit looking for validation, for recognition, and being a little bit of an attention seeker, try to bring in the Virgo and try to make a list of things that you're proud of, things that you've already accomplished. Be proud of yourself. And that is also great for the Virgo side because of all that perfectionism. It also helps you see that, I've already accomplished so much and I've already done so much. Especially if you're working on a big ass project, try to look back at all those steps that you needed to take, and you're like, oh dude, I've already completed this one, and this one was a really tough one. Oh, I've already completed this one, look at that, I've already completed all of this. And as you start doing that, you start becoming proud of yourself, and you don't seek for pride from other people outside of you. When it comes to Virgo, however, we can be a bit of a maniac. We're like full of stress, full of anxiety. We need to control, we need this to be done this way. Always not rushing through things, but it's like, I have so much to do. How am I going to manage everything? And your mind, it's like, blah. Try to relax. Try to bring a little bit of peace and coolness with the Leo, Try to put some music on and dance and just let yourself be free. Go catch some sun, go spend some time in nature. That's also really good to ground the Virgo. Just try to get into this high vibe. No stress, no anxiety. I feel like it's really important that you manage the rest. That is the biggest thing, because with the Virgo, it's like, let's work. What are we waiting for? Let's work, let's continue to work all over the time. And rest. That is important. That is really important. So with the Leo, really try to bring in all that fun, okay? Go and do something completely off the work. You're gonna feel refreshed and with a different attitude, and you're gonna feel excited and empowered to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. So it's important that when the Virgo is being really stressful, that you do exactly the opposite. Now, the craziest part is when both are acting dumb. When both are completely off. That happens, for example, when you're in that extrovert-introvert battle where you don't really know. I feel like one of the biggest things is knowing the people you're with when it comes to dealing with that extrovert-introvert and pushing yourself a little bit. For example, I was always really introvert, and when I went to college, I was like, different city, different vibe, different people. I was like, we're gonna push ourselves, we're gonna be extrovert. And that actually got me into this balance, because my extrovert would never be over the top. It was the perfect thing. I feel like I've learned when to be an introvert, when to be an extrovert, and now I have much more control over that. So push yourself a little bit, know the people you're around, and know how to act with those people. If they are not really close friends, it depends on the situation, because if it's a stranger, maybe you want to push yourself to be a little bit of an extrovert. You can make great friends that way. If it is someone that you don't know that well, you don't get a really good vibe, then maybe be a bit more of an introvert and pull your energy back. If it is something, if it's, for example, your best friend, be an extrovert. Be an extrovert. Also, this is more of a personal experience, but I've always had my Leo side really repressed. Maybe you do too. It's important that you figure out which side is more repressed. And if it is the Leo, let your hair out. My whole childhood, my mom didn't really enjoy the curls and the volume and everything, so I would always like straighten it, and I was always trying to control it. And so that's how I started to repress my Leo side. And Leos, it's like, it's the lion. You have that whole hair. Let it out, okay? Let it be natural. Don't try to force anything. Don't try to control it. Let it be free. It needs to be free. Another thing is that, for example, with planning, if the Leo side is repressed, in the Virgo it's like full on mode, you're gonna be controlling and planning everything all of the time. Try to plan in a larger scale. So I used to be really like, okay, so this day we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Now I don't do that anymore because the Virgo needs a little bit of peace and the Leo needs to step in a little bit. So I plan weekly, and then when it comes to today, I just decide whatever I want to do, you know? And you can do this in any way you feel like. For example, you're planning a trip. Don't plan like the whole itinerary where you're gonna go each day. Go with the flow. Today I feel like going that way. Today I feel like walking, so maybe we're gonna go to the park. You know, really try to go with the flow in your days and bring a little bit of that Leo energy. Now, on the other hand, if it is your Virgo side that is unbalanced and that is repressed, you may be a bit more reckless or a bit more impulsive, I would say, and not really plan that much. That's where you may need to start planning a little bit more and start creating some sort of structure and organization in your life. It could also be that you're always like really out there, really outgoing, and you give and give and give and give, and you don't really take some time for yourself. So that's where you may need to start creating a little bit more like self-care dates, you know, spending a little bit more time with yourself. Overall, for controlling both beasts at the same time, for having some sort of balance, it's important that you always take some sort of time for you to be with yourself. Reading out in nature, if it is in nature, great. Or just like connecting with animals or anything like that, that would be awesome. But just anything that helps you cool down, that at the same time lights you up. So this could be, for example, working out outside. This could be, a lot of you actually said reading. Reading showed up so many times, and also nature. So that makes sense with all of that Virgo energy. And you can do this outside, catching that sun. That is so important because you're ruled by it. Or doing something fun by yourself, okay? Really try to bring a little bit of light, a little bit of spice while being alone. So I hope it helped. I think I covered basically everything that I wanted to say. Definitely check out my blog post to maybe get some more information. Don't forget about that previous video. That could actually bring you a bit more information about self-awareness, self-care, how to figure out if your energies are balanced or not. But if this video resonated, if it helped, don't forget to smash the like button for me, to subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to also comment down below any self-care tips, anything that helps you gain balance into your life. That could be really helpful for me and also for other Leo Virgos that may need some sort of help right now. Don't forget also to check out the survey. It's really quick. I would really appreciate it if you would fill it out if you haven't already. That really helps me in my research and understand better what cusps are, how they act, what is going on with them, and how you can balance them better. In the description box, you will also find a link for private readings if you're interested. We do look at like if your energies are balanced or not. All you have to do is say that you're a Leo-Virgo Cusp, and I will take a look at that. So with that being said, I wish you the best freaking birthday ever. I hope you have or you had a wonderful one, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.